Welcome to another episode of The Marital Mission. I'm your co-host, Shamika McDowell.
And I am your other co-host, LaRodrius McDowell.
And we are The Marital Mission. So we're going to get right to it this week. We are talking about how your home life can be affected by your employment. And we certainly don't want to do that.
Never.
So you work in a pretty stressful, or it seems like a pretty stressful profession.
Only one of the top stressful professions in the world.
Which is?
Public education.
How do you shield our marriage from the stresses of your job?
It's a daily struggle. Have to make sure that I prioritize our marriage over my work, knowing that the job will come and go as time goes on, but that if I continue to make sure that our marriage is my top priority, after making sure that I am walking in my purpose and fulfilling the things that God has me to do, then it seems to keep me from falling to the stressors of the day-to-day workload. What about you?
Is it easy for you?
Oh, no. Definitely not easy. Definitely not easy.
You make it look easy.
It's definitely stressful. I mean, there are times when work is on my mind. Wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it. Decompress on the way home. Usually listen to music, listen to a podcast, or sometimes I just have nothing playing, and I just am in my thoughts. And sometimes I'll sit in the parking lot about 5 minutes before coming in, just to make sure that I'm not bringing the work home, so to speak. And it's one of those jobs that you can't really finish it all ever. There's always something else to do. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, I guess, to my detriment, the work doesn't get done. But I remember a specific time in the first years of teaching, and prior to me going into education, we watched documentaries together. Mm-hmm. I read books, and just to see what I was getting myself into, and realize very early that people were literally losing their lives to the job. The stress was breaking down their immune systems. They were developing diseases. Divorce is high in the profession. Mm-hmm. And just unhappiness. And that was something I didn't want. We had just gotten married, and at the time, our marriage was top priority. It still is. And I remember just bringing work home, all these papers, and that's when I was still watching the NFL.
Ooh, I remember those days, the papers.
Yeah, it was just papers everywhere. All over the living room, and I mean stacks. And I would sit there as I am supposed to be enjoying my Sunday afternoon, evening, and I would be grading papers. And of course, I wouldn't finish. And so I would leave some there, and then the next day they would still be there. And then I would bring more papers home throughout the week. And I remember you asked me, like, when are you going to get all these papers up? And I was like, oh, I get them. And just coming to realize that, you know, it's just kind of a steady grind, constant paperwork and emails and all type of stuff needs to be done. Mm-hmm. So I made a conscious effort that I would only dedicate so much time to work outside of work, mm-hmm. especially bringing it home. And so now I try to only spend time working on work when either you're asleep or you're asleep. So I usually get up in the morning or sometimes I will wait, you know, to late at night and do the work, but I really don't want that work on me when I go to sleep. So I'll just set my alarm for like 3:30, however much work I want to accomplish before going in. and I'll just kind of try to knock out what I can during that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's stressful though. It's stressful because one, public education is just stressful. The demands that the job asks of you,
Mm-hmm.
and then your passion for working with kids and growing kids and making a meaningful impact on them, on their lives, and they don't always go parallel to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're dealing with life outside of work, and work doesn't really care about this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I do it. I have realized that everything is not going to get done. There's always going to be work there. And if I was to drop dead like Fred, somebody would be subbing in my room the next day. So
Right.
yeah.
No need to kill yourself.
So that's how I manage it. I know I have coworkers that, they manage it differently. And some seem to have a pretty good program that works for them. Some are married, some aren't. But yeah,
You're so you think you found the work-life balance, so to speak?
I wouldn't even say that. I don't. I really don't. I don't think that, not at least not the one that I desire.
Mm.
It's
But we're working on that. We're going to get
yeah,
you to a place where you have that work-life balance that you desire.
yeah, yeah. And I want to say it's a good balance. It's just that I feel I don't want to feel guilty for, like, in one area, like if I am coaching like I am now and tutoring and have desires to have other programs that I offer for the kids. I'm staying, 3-4 days late out of the week. So I don't want to feel guilty for doing that. But at the same time, I don't want to feel guilty for not getting everything done all the way. So yeah, it is what it is.
Well, no need to feel guilty about staying late. I know you need to do what you need to do for the kids and for us.
Yeah,
So it's all good on my end.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
How do you seem to deal with the stressors that come with your job?
I will say where I am now in my profession, it's okay. It's not as bad. And knock on wood, I say that it could all go out the window tomorrow. But I am on call even after hours. So there could be an emergency where I have to respond and get some communications out. But overall, I can say that my current employer, they do a good job. At least I feel that they do compared to what I've experienced in the past. Um, Being able to work from home some of the time definitely helps eliminate some of the stress. We do have our periods where we probably 4 times out of the year where we're like go 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 because we are um, updating our products. So I don't know, just for me, making sure that I stay stress free involves my diet, making sure that I'm eating properly. Because if I'm eating junk food, if I'm eating, dairy products, they don't serve me well, like breads and all of that, I know that that's going to affect my blood sugar levels and I'm going to crash and I'm going to be up and down. And it just doesn't serve my body well, which in turn doesn't serve my work well. So just making sure that I'm eating a healthy diet. Also, making sure that I am working out, and even if it's just doing some yoga, I have found to be a tremendous help in maintaining healthy stress levels.
Okay.
So, those two things and drinking water. So diet and physical activity help me to manage, and then putting everything in perspective, knowing that this is just a resource, this isn't the source,
That's good.
and understanding that this is just the assignment that God has me on right now, and whatever he has me to do in that space, that's what I need to do, and everything else is just fluff.
Yeah.
That all my efforts and activities need to be committed to him anyways. So understanding that I prayed for a job like this, keeping that into perspective, that I prayed to just be employed and that I am employed, and keeping that in mind helps to keep that in perspective. But yeah, those things, just maintaining a healthy diet, healthy activities, physical activities, and a healthy perspective.
I'd say that you do a pretty good job at not letting your work stress you out to the point where it's affecting our marriage.
Oh, thank you. I try not to.
And I think the fact that both of us are putting effort into that is why we don't really suffer in that area as much as I know some people may do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's also priorities that we have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's different for each relationship. Each couple, they desire different things. And I think that we found a peace and contentment for at least where we are, even though we have goals and aspirations to acquire more, or maybe not more as in terms of quantity, but the quality of life that we seek. So it's not that, you know, we're not striving or working hard to create a better life for ourselves. It's just that we don't
try to kill ourselves to get it.
Yeah. Think that, because like you spoke to the purpose part, you know, I realized that likewise God has me where I am for a particular purpose. And even though I may not understand it, just the faith that he is going to provide what I need to get through, but not even just survive where I am, to not to say that it's just like a horrible place or anything, but just to survive where I am mentally, and that whatever I am supposed to be learning in this period is going to help me for where he's going to take me. So like you say, keeping that in mind when things aren't going the way that I think they should go, realizing that there's a bigger plan out here. And also realizing that it is spiritual warfare, that the crap that comes with that job is, you know, it's not personal, because there aren't many people that, I mean, I guess this is generally speaking, there aren't many people that you're going to work with in a job that you don't particularly run or own yourself that will know you personally. Like, you know, there are always memes going out about how the people that you work with aren't your friends, just go to work and come home, which I don't believe that to be facts all the time. Like, you can befriend people that you work with, but it is healthy to keep in perspective that everybody has a family.
Right.
And at the end of the day, people are going to do what's best for them and their families. So I think sometimes we look at work relationships and we skew the loyalty of our coworkers, but it's like, hey, just like you have a family, they have a family, and even though they may consider you, they're going to do what's best for them and their families.
Right.
So, you know, well, I mean, that's what just about any relationship you have, though. So I think if you keep that in mind, then you'll be less hurt, and you can move on from disappointment quicker and not have a toxic situation with the people you work with.
Which then can spill into the home life.
Definitely can, because then you come home and you're dumping on your spouse
Mm,
about the same situation and the same people all the time, and that's draining.
yeah. I think people, well, I'll say that I think we do a good job. We have our little vent sessions, but then we kind of nip it in the bud. We don't go too long with it. We say our piece is done with and we go about our evening.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not the same thing every day because we kind of know by now
Yeah.
how our jobs go. And if it's just something particularly outlandish that happens that day or some situation that's been going on, we might mention it. But I think we do a good job of creating part of not coming home and dumping on your spouse is having a home that kind of isn't suited for that.
Yeah. Boundaries.
Yeah. So understanding that once you come in this household, you should just feel the stress rolling off of you because this isn't an environment that caters to that.
Yeah, that's good.
So I think we've been intentional, especially early in our marriage. We're still early, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning years, I think we saw how things were kind of going to go because they were rough
Yeah.
work wise.
Yeah.
I think our relationship became our safe haven and we wanted to protect that. So we were intentional on saying, you know, once you cross that threshold, that doorway, you can have your little 5-minute spiel, but then it's us and you're home and you're safe and you don't have to carry that weight anymore. You can leave that at the door. And you can be carefree with me. That has served us well so far.
And it's always been important for me to voice that to my employers and coworkers, the fact that, well, they know my relationship with Christ because I speak of him often and my relationship with him. And so, they know that that's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
But then they know that you're important to me and my marriage is important. And, I'm not walking into anybody's office like, hey, this job comes second.
Mm-hmm.
But respectfully and in the right time, I do let people know that, hey, this is a job
Mm-hmm.
and I am married. And if lines ever need to be drawn in the sand, they know which side I'm going to be on.
Right.
And I've always gotten respected for that, at least to my face.
Yeah.
I haven't had any backlash or anything that I felt from that. And a lot of times people admire that. Mm-hmm. And so that makes me conscious when I am making decisions to go out with coworkers after work or putting in extra hours or whatever it is, that they know why I make the decisions that I make.
Yeah.
And so particularly, and I guess this kind of goes with it, I often choose not to go to holiday parties, especially Christmas parties. And I don't think I've ever went to a Christmas party before.
Why not?
I respect my coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
I respect everybody until
something happens.
Yeah, you do something that just, lose my respect. And I don't like to put myself in positions or other people in positions for me to lose respect for them, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that me professionally, in a professional setting, I represent who I am, but it's very lean, a lean version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
But after work,
they get professionally though.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I still have the same views. I still have the same values, but I may not express them to the same extent.
Yeah.
And after work, out of work setting, I'm going to be a little less reserved.
Mm-hmm.
And still respectful though. But I just know everybody doesn't have my viewpoints on things, and I don't have the same viewpoints that they may have. So in having conversations, I don't want that to create any type of animosity or tension in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of limit the interactions I have with coworkers outside of work. Now, there are some coworkers that I used to love to hang out with, and I would consider some of them friends. I would consider other of them acquaintances, and that we can hang out outside of work. But the biggest thing is I don't really want to see people drunk. I'll say I've been I did that when I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But, age, people drinking excessively doesn't really have an age on it.
Right.
But I just know that, I've done things and said things in my drunken state to coworkers, and then I had to deal with that coming back to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't want to see people like that.
Yeah.
I'd rather not.
To protect the work relationship.
To protect the work relationship.
I hear you.
And I haven't really gotten flack for not coming, but people question, they wonder, because especially in the school setting.
Any setting, actually.
Okay.
It's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. Like, if you don't show up to the work holiday party, they're like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Yeah. And
they look at you a
and it's
way.
really not. It's no knock. It's no knock at all. I just don't want it to be a knock.
Right.
So I think I went to more of your Christmas parties than I've been to my own.
I think we've been to two of mine.
Yeah, about 2.
Yeah.
And they weren't bad.
2 or 3? 3.
Okay.
3. The first one. Do you remember that?
That was when we got dressed up, the big one.
No, that was the second one. The first one was, we got dressed up too, but we were sitting at a table.
I don't remember that one.
I think that was a holiday party. It was a blind auction.
Oh, I do remember that one. I don't remember the details of it, but I remember the blind auction.
Let's just say some of the coworkers got drunk and we were sitting there like, what's happening?
Okay, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, so anywho.
Yeah. So protect yourselves.
Yeah.
Don't, and if you know your spouse,
mm-hmm.
and you know that you've been going home talking about specific coworkers to your spouse, and you know how your spouse get down, don't put your spouse in that situation where they gotta look these people in their face.
Listen, because some of the stories you have told me, I was like, don't let me see that person in person.
Yeah. You just gotta know.
Because I already know how my face go.
Yeah. Protect your marriage.
Yeah, it's gonna be an issue. If I have to look you in your face, it's gonna be an issue.
Protect your marriage, people.
And protect your money.
And protect your money.
Yeah. For said crazy spouses like myself.
There you go.
Speaking of, kind of segueing into a related topic, we're still on work, still talking about protecting your marriage. So there's a thing called work spouses, where, you kiki and you laugh with, and you're particularly chummy with somebody at work that's of the opposite sex, to the point where you're so close and you're so looking out for each other that you earn the title of work spouse.
It's just being intimate with someone else.
Yes. Have you had any experience with that?
Prior to marriage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But, and I mean, not with the title work spouse, but I have had some type of relationship with some people that I've worked with before. After marriage, no. I mean, jokingly the term, just because like you look out for people that you cool with, but it's on work stuff. Not on I'm letting myself get too deep, or I'm opening up too much, or I'm exposing myself in a way, not physically, but just emotionally to this other person that I'm not doing with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't had that. So nah.
Yeah, I haven't had it at all. Particularly because, I'm usually working with a bunch of women, or I have. No, I would say they've definitely been older gentlemen. So
Mm-hmm.
there's none of that
Yeah.
because that's not my cup of tea.
There was this one time though.
What one time?
This one time.
What one time? Let me know.
I don't know if you were saying it to hurt me, but you was like some dude had been complimenting you and oh man, I wish I could remember exactly what you said.
Please do, because what?
But you were like, I'm gonna summarize it. You were kind of like, I don't know, like he was making you feel good by the compliments he was giving you.
Whoa!
Yeah. Imagine my response.
Look at my response. What?
Yeah.
When was this? What year? The year will help me.
Y'all.
The year will help.
It had to be like 2014, 15, somewhere up in there.
15.
Yeah, it was up. We had been married about 2 or 3 years.
He was complimenting what? My work?
No, not no work.
What was he complimenting?
We were going through, a little time, a period of time where we weren't vibing all that well. We weren't communicating all that well. And you were like, I wasn't giving you, I don't know if you're like, I wasn't paying attention to you or whatever.
I remember this.
But yeah, you made the comment that, some dude was complimenting you and that it was making you feel good or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, for sure. It was, I think it was around that same period of time. Maybe not like, exact months or nothing, but I think it was that job maybe.
No.
Well, you changed jobs a few times.
I know where I was in that particular job. I can't remember who I said that about.
That's what I say. Like, you said things at that time to hurt me. So I don't know if it was said to hurt me because, like I say, we were having one of our marriage moments.
I wouldn't have come up with something out of the blue, though.
Well, it was true then. Yep.
But that wasn't a work spouse situation.
Well, I mean, it's in the category. All righty, guys. Well, I think that is going to be the end of the work spouse, work stressors, making sure that you keep your marriage numero uno, at least in comparison to your work. You definitely never want to allow your work situation to take precedent over the love that you share with your spouse. So if you guys have any stories that you'd like to share with us, if you are dealing with anything right now that you would like for us to offer advice on, or you just want to hear our opinion on it, hit us up on social media. We are on all streaming platforms, or most of them anyways. Check out our website to see where you can listen to us at. Go to our Instagram and definitely let us know in the comments what you thought about this episode. We're also on Facebook. Check us out there. We love the conversations. And don't forget to rate us on Apple Podcasts. So there's nothing else. Want to pray this thing out? Thank you, Lord, for once again allowing us to come here with the goal of strengthening marriages. Lord, we pray that the conversation that we had was edifying to your kingdom, Lord, that you are able to speak to those that are dealing with work, marriage situations right now, or those that are just trying to avoid those situations. Lord, we pray that you will continue to give us the strength to overcome the obstacles that are set before us, and that we can continue to pour into our spouses. We pray these other blessings in your son Jesus' name. Amen. See you later.